Today, we're going through my entire art evolution throughout art school. This is from freshman year college to senior year, from my art portfolio to now, quite literally 700 images. Ooh, babe. We're gonna do some rapid fire ones, but it's gonna take a while. So y'all better sit down, relax, grab a coffee, grab a popcorn. We're gonna get started because y'all will literally want to see this. It's iconic. For those of y'all new, hello, my name is Brett Park. I'm a 22-year-old artist based in Los Angeles, and I just graduated from USC Roski with a double major in communications. Was communications worth it? Girl, I don't know. What did I learn? Not how to communicate very well. So without further ado, let's get into this video, starting with my rejected art portfolio. Yes, ma'am. I will not harp on this because all of y'all know the story by now. I was rejected from every single art school I applied to out of high school, RISD, Chicago, and Brown. Why I think I can get into those places, I have no idea. Your girl was stupid at Little Dumb, so that was not possible. But I ended up getting into USC for communications. Then my sophomore year, I applied to get into the Roski art major and I got it. So we're gonna start with both of those portfolios. Also, I'm gonna be on my phone like for this entire video. It's not because I'm bored of our conversation and just I'm tuning out. I like to keep that eye contact while we're together. But babes, the images are on my phone. If y'all don't think you're ready for this video, how do you think I feel? Put yourself in my shoes. Kidding. First up is this god-awful green and pink painting. Very deep, very Tumblr. I literally was talking about beauty standards, etc. I hate the rendering. Nothing's fully rendered. The eyes are way too big. The nose, she cinched. She got a nose job. But other than that, I have no idea what's happening in this photo. Next, this one was about anxiety. There's definitely colors. There's definitely a face, as in like your anxiety just makes things overblown and it's just really hard being so anxious all the time. No, literally. Next up, we have this Paul Revere bear. Y'all gonna see this damn bear a lot. My distant Cubanot gave this to me, I think for the 4th of July. Hashtag America, hashtag America Strong, hashtag Eagles. And so this was like her little patriotism, giving it to me. Am I a patriot? Bibs. Next question. Horrific. My first time using pastel, first time incorporating multiple figures. Absolutely hate the one in the front. The forearm is non-existent. The bicep is literally crazy. No. Now we're moving to the accepted art portfolio, I think, to USC Roski. I'm not even sure if this is correct, but again, what is up with this damn like sitch nose? Like, babe, this one up top is literally James Charles. Hi, sisters. I don't love it, but the composition's maybe interesting. If I was to like put it in black and white, blur out all the faces and just look at the lines, like maybe the composition is kind of good. I have no idea how I pulled this oil painting out of my ass because babes, as you saw before, I could not paint. I definitely touched paint. I definitely moved it around. Did I mix paint even? No, I was not even mixing paint, babes. I have some warm shadows. I have some cool highlights. The oranges look good. There's a lot of colors in the orange. It's not just out of the tube. Why did this kind of eat for me at the time? This next painting, I'm honestly still proud of. Like, I don't know how I did this again, but here I'm experimenting with flatness, more 3D, a bit more representational versions of depicting myself. It's about my sports background and being like the only Asian kid on my soccer team. There's actually a couple of Asian kids and we were both like practically mute where they made fun of us for not talking. I talk a lot, y'all know I can yap. But at the time, I didn't have shit to say. The only thing in my brain to go at the time was literally Dramageddon, and I couldn't talk about that with anyone on my soccer team, so what was there to talk about? What was there literally to talk about? Next is this graphite drawing with some childhood toys, cards, and etc. The Paul Revere bear shows up again. Rendering wise, this took a long time, so I was like super proud of it looking back. I don't think I could do this again. I don't think I want to do it again. Let's just say that. This next one is gosh darn embarrassing. I was so into Miles Johnson and just doing a bunch of realistic portraits, incorporates nature elements. I was trying to have this surrealist moment of me praying in my Jesus era. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, babe. And if you couldn't tell already that I hated it, I ruined it again. I literally wrote Stan Lana in the back. I say Kylie Jenner who to submit this to art school and literally have Free the Nipple in it and Nicki Minaj is the queen of rap. Babe, okay, this one is fun because I definitely incorporate silhouettes into my work right now. Again, experimenting with flat planes and more three-dimensional renderings. Do I like the portrait in the back? Absolutely not. The figures reference from gay corn, porn. And it's about queerness, you know, people just perceiving me differently because I adopted a different label. Yeah, shit was rough at the time, low-key, but I got this painting out of it. So a little friendly reminder, even if your ideas aren't necessarily executed well now, you can always develop your technique and skill to get it to where it needs to be. And that could take literal years. A little paper sculpture, cutting out observational drawings in my home, reinventing a new home, babe, like, why is that literally everything? It wasn't. At this point, the art portfolio, she's accepted, babe. She's approved, she's validated. So I start foundational year, which was pretty crazy for me. We start out with some wild observational drawing. Drawing is so underrated. Y'all, drawing is so difficult. Even though it's like one of the most accessible mediums because you can just do whatever. You could pick up a pencil, paper, or even just like a marker and your notebook and just start going at it. Drawing is so difficult. I hate it. Some more observational sketches at negative space. Then I go into my first painting in art school officially, which is this banner project. I took raw canvas and then just painted a bunch of acrylic layers onto it. And the thing is, I wasn't trying to make it look like anime, but it does, and that literally makes my blood boil. This is my era of bathrooms, so it appears again. Similar to the Paul Revere bear, she makes another entrance. I honestly stand by this painting. I had no idea what the concept was, but then someone in my art school was like, wow, this literally looks like you're being traumatized as a child. And I'm like, damn. You know what? If that's what you got from it, babe, go off. Oh my god. These two self-portraits, which is actually ridiculous. I was so into Denis Sarrazin at the time as well. And Denis Sarrazin is a Ukrainian oil painter. This is absolutely disturbing. We have a little collage, more observational drawings, ink drawings, washes. Ink is so difficult because you literally cannot erase or mess up. And that was too much, babe. That was a lot. Not a vibration, don't know what I was doing. Definitely cramming my art school assignments because, babe, what else could I do? I was also doing internships, clubs at school, trying to do my communications major. And so I was saving my breath, okay, for the big art projects to spend time and energy on. And for these smaller assignments, I was just cramming them a ton. A little story time for y'all. I made this series on TikTok called like cramming my art school assignments. And then at some point, everyone kept clowning me because they're like, you're not taking art school seriously. You're just asshole kid, like not taking anything seriously. People would die to be in your shoes, to be in art school and da 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 da. And you're just cramming everything, not giving a fuck. First of all, so dramatic. Two, I completely understand that frustration because it is frustrating to see people in a very privileged position to pursue higher education and not care. That is frustrating. So I do get it. But three, like I just said, I was booked and busy, babes. And of course, like videos of my main assignments that I actually spent time and energy on didn't pop off. The only thing people saw was the cramming assignment videos when I was having a whole other video series, spending 20 hours a week on one project. Girl, it was a mess. It was my canceled era. Okay, now back to this video. I had this weird cartoonish animal painting that is again in a bathroom. Similar to my very first painting that I showed in this video, there's a pink and green complementary color going on. The cartoon people are acting out whatever their mask is. So the sloth is lazy, the bird is trying to fly, the bear has a claw, and the fox is on all fours. For this assignment, we had to make 100 of one object, and so I decided to make lilies, and me being very dramatic, I put them in a coffin. The next thing I had to do in that class was make a wearable sculpture that represented armor out of cardboard. This art piece quite literally changed my life, which is so wild to say. I made a cardboard oversized puffer jacket that doubled as a Korean hanbok, posted the whole series on TikTok, went viral in its own little way, in its own niche community. It got on the cover of the LA Times, it was on Complex. And you'd think after getting a certain level of attention on one piece that I would want to make that piece and continue making series about cardboard. But I got so scared from it that I would be pigeonholed into this one design that I never touched cardboard again pretty much, unless I had to for an art school assignment. Because at the same time while I'm in art school, I was making webcomics called Thumbpaint, and I made these webtoons for quite literally 7 years with the same character, and people only knew me for that, and I couldn't break out of it. So I had literally had this like weird like thing in my brain that if I kept doing cardboard sculptures that I would just be known for cardboard and have to do that for the rest of my life, and I did not want to do that. So I didn't do it. More self-portraits, god awful. Oh my god, and then I went back and touched up the old self-portrait. Babe, leave her alone. But another disclaimer, I don't like to be the person that always like craps on their old work and says they were awful and da 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 da. Like, I definitely appreciate the journey so much, which is why I'm making this video. I'm just being sassy because I'm in the mood. I was trying to do some like deconstruction experiments with cardboard, clay, and canvas strings, but she looked awful. She looked really bad. Next up, we have the jumpiest jump scare in my damn life. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? On the bright side, this is inspiring me to just experiment with more collage and bright colors because I've been so into bright colors in my paintings nowadays that maybe if I went back and did the same assignment in my own way now, it would be really helpful. More sketches, figure drawings. And then we get to my first ever large-scale painting. This is 6 by 5 feet. Now this painting was referencing a bit of Kehinde Wiley with his flat backdrops that the figure is immersed in. But we're not going to talk about that, because Kehinde Wiley is actually so fucking canceled right now for good reason. If you don't know what's happening, Kehinde Wiley literally did the Obama portrait, the Obama presidential portrait. It was the most iconic thing ever. It was on Time magazine. It was colorful, it was bright, it was unexpected for a president to be depicted in such a way. And then Miss Thing throws everything away because he literally starts essaying people allegedly. Is there any chance that this man would literally sue me? I have no idea. But all the girls on TikTok say allegedly to cover their own ass, and so that's what I'm gonna do right now. There were multiple victims that came forward publicly saying that they were gonna file a lawsuit against Kehinde. And then Kehinde Wiley responds by posting on his Instagram being like, these are screenshots of all these people like wanting me, like this person wanted to be in a relationship with me, like flew all the way to see me for XYZ event, like da 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 da. And then all the comments were like, oh my god, yes, Kehinde, this is how you drop receipts, this is how you do this and that. I'm not even gonna get into how like essay is a spectrum and there's different levels of severity. Everyone knows this, and there is potential in some cases for it to be more of a gray area of what is and not consensual. But everyone falling into this trap of thinking that just because you're engaging in a relationship with someone that you can't be essayed is absolutely false, demonstrably false. It is possible for you to have a crush on someone and the person that you have a crush on essay you. Just because you have a particular relationship doesn't mean you consent to everything. That's crazy. And the fact that everyone was just like so glad to accept it is wild anyways. And also, it's not like there's one victim, there's multiple, babe, bye. And last disclaimer, I should never be the voice of reason on these things. I simply just say what's on my mind. If this ever gets clipped in like 20 billion years, just know that I totally open myself up to the possibility of change and the current situation is changing. This is just with the information that I have now and my small brain interpreting everything as a observer, because these two people did take it to a public arena, and babe, I'm part of that public. Anyways, back to my god-awful freshman year art assignments. Deconstructed cardboard, did some derivative Keith Haring people on top of it. I should have just left the cardboard deconstructed and sewn together. That was way more interesting of a composition than throwing these three figures onto it. I don't even know. More sketches, and then we get to this god-awful painting. This is so middle schooler on Tumblr who's like depressed and finds a niche community and literally makes art about it. In the background, I wrote things like, I can't feel things. Help me, please. I don't matter. Girl, shut the fuck up. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Now, these next watercolors, I think they're good. I genuinely don't know how I did these. This one has to be my favorite. I don't know what inspired me to do this, where they came from, but I definitely think there's something there. And I really want to go back to watercolors. Oh my gosh, they're so fun. Then in spring semester, I started doing some painting classes. I started mixing the burnt umbers with the aquamarines, doing value scales, XYZ, painting still lifes, finally out of that damn charcoal class. I did not want to touch another piece of charcoal. No. Some more sketches. Conan Gray actually liked this animation that I posted on my TikTok. Shout out Miss Thing, shout out Conan Gray. Stream found heaven, y'all. Period. We have my first and only design class. Am I delusional, or does this kind of eat? babe, like, made this very queer tiger looking thing. She was just a vibration. She really was. I definitely stand by her. She was iconic, and I probably need to do a painting of this damn tiger again. Another painting of a still life. God damn awful. I was so proud of this at first, but now I look at it and I think this is disgusting. I'm not into it. I think the bottle is maybe cute. It was my first time experimenting with glazing layers, and they're fun. But babe, what is this? Then on the side, I started designing some people's logos, and this is a cartoon character I made for my friend who's a photographer, and he was so sweet. He referred me to his other friend who needed a logo design, and then this is the tea. That friend literally asked me to make a logo, had a rate for him. He said, okay, work. Paid me half of it up front, thank God. And then I did the designs that he wanted to do. I sent them over, and then he ghosts me and never pays me the rest of the money. Like, first of all, if you didn't like the design, just tell me so we can work again together on it and fix it, even though we already made like 10 different iterations. That's fine. And then it's like, babes, are you not embarrassed a bit? Because you're the friend of someone who's I'm friends with. I know that you didn't pay me. He's gonna know, and that's not gonna reflect well on him because he's the guy who referred you. Babe, I can't. The kicker of it all is that that man referred me to do someone else's logo. My friend's friend's friend. And this friend asked me to do a logo and text me out of the blue. So I text back, hey, I can do your logo once you tell friend number 2 to pay me back. And then I never got a response. But it's fine. It's fine, I'm fine. A little paper sculpture that I did that was installed on a wall, some flowers. Here's an illustration I made while I was in New York. And oh my God, in the bottom corner, you can literally see my painted nails. This was my femme era. Not really, but kind of. And then I just stopped painting my nails after that year because every single man started painting their nails, particularly straight men. And I did not want to be confused with the type of straight man that paints his nails, who's also homophobic and racist. Like, oh my God. If y'all have not been in Los Angeles, there's a hyper-specific type of man called the Silver Lake Man with patch tattoos, shaggy hair, wears a beanie, has a handlebar mustache, scrawny, tall build, cargo pants, maybe a carabiner, and has painted nails. Like, some of y'all do not get it. Like, these men are so toxic. These men are so toxic. And it's similar to the male manipulators who wear pearl earrings. I need to stay 10 feet away from them. And if anyone confuses me for them, I would literally cry. Not that they would confuse me ever, because I'm very visibly like queer. Not that I'm like gatekeeping painting nails. Like, I love the deconstruction of masculinity. I love men being comfortable in their masculinity. Again, specifically talking about the men that paint their nails, act like they're different, and then go ahead and be the most sexist pieces of shit ever. But now I might start again. I'm kind of getting inspired a bit by my friend Amaya. Speaking of my femme era, I did an endurance performance piece where I ran until failure in a dress, which ended up being 30 miles. And I definitely blocked this out of my brain because when I look back at these photos, I'm embarrassed. Not because I was in a dress, not because the endurance performance piece was kind of a flop and a chop, but because the makeup looked god awful. This is my thing. If I do makeup, which I do a couple years later, which you will see in the end of the video, just full send it. Putting on a red lip and some eyeliner does not cut it. No, no, no. I want some thick ass full coverage e.l.f. foundation with some contour, blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner, lipstick, lip gloss, highlighter, fake lashes, brows done. And if I wanted to make it worse, I made a painting about that performance piece with my god-awful makeup, and the painting was god-awful. Oh my God. I can't. Next up is this very weird in-person figure painting of a woman. I have to constantly remind myself that this is freshman year. I wasn't sure whether to include it or not in this video because I'm gonna make a video later on about like everything that happened in my USC experience, including the things about the university and failure to cultivate an environment where students are protected. And this is a situation and an awful, awful crime that was committed when a frat boy in Sigma Nu literally a woman. It was absolutely horrific. Of course, we all protested, and these essays on frat row happen all the time. And the case that got blown up the most was this man, which I won't even say his name because that's a bad taste in my mouth and just bad juju in general. I'm not going to talk about this actual painting in general because it's not that good, but it definitely denotes a time of my college experience that was a defining moment. Just crazy to say because I didn't experience any of the violence at all. One of my first times, other than like Black Lives Matter, actively protesting, which also happened later in my senior year with like the ongoing genocide in Gaza right now, which is absolutely so sad. But the crazy thing is, you would think that you see people having little lit candles outside of the frat house. You think that people sharing their own personal stories in front of a crowd of protesters at the very site where this essay took place, that people would be chill, that people would be respectful. But no, these frat men went up and down the street in a car and on aux as loud as they could, were playing sounds of women in corn, like moaning. Unbelievable. I hate this place. Oh my god, I hate this place. Those people, I don't like to think that everyone's just bad or good. I like to hope that they learn from their actions and grow up, but in that moment, they were some of the most awful human beings. Absolutely dehumanized every single person and woman and victim of essay. And the thing is, I go to school with these people. We're in school together. Anyways, back to the video. This is another 6x5 foot painting that I did, and you can see the glow up between this semester and last semester, where I'm trying to do more realistic renderings. I'm getting my face a bit more accurate, having more classical style, all the proportions off a bit. Yes, ma'am. But I'm definitely really proud of this painting because of just like the jump in skill and technique. Over the summer, I kept trying to work on my proportions, painting friends, painting Pinterest photos, etc. Again, this damn bear. Now we're in sophomore year. I'm painting my friend Hera. She always has this like little Oscar from Sesame Street. She just always has such a fun attitude, always dancing around. Love you, Hera. You're the best. And I ended up giving her this painting. I think it's fun. I think it's fresh. Now we're entering my printmaking era. I took a printmaking class and it was honestly everything. I love printmaking so much. It's just a bit more time consuming with setup and very expensive because the paper you use is quite literally $8 a sheet, which is wild. Here, talk about shaving my ass, just really goofy stuff. And then I had Hera take my carving and then put it on my back like a stamp, doing some printmaking on my skin. And it was the first iteration of a project that became a lot larger and really, really impactful for my personal artistic kind of journey in college. More paintings, and I'm straying away from the more classical, realistic styles of rendering and then going towards cartoons. And this is the very first time my cartoon character that I have now almost appears. But this cartoon character is crazy. The nose, non-existent, cinched. It's giving Michael Jackson. The only thing I can take away from this painting is that I let the under painting show through the pants, and that was just like a painting decision that I'm trying to incorporate now and be more cognizant of in my recent work. More printmaking. She's fun, she's fresh. A painting of me eating a bowl of cereal, and yes, my hair was so long and blonde at this point. I want to do blonde hair again, but sometimes it's just a bit much to maintain. I took some ceramics, me doing a bowing position. Oh my god, I completely forgot about this. I made a wire sculpture out of bird and thread and then put like my ceramic little character doing a bowing position in the middle of the bird, and then I put it on some found wood, and the bird was fun. I was trying to do it off of like Korean myths of like crow, I think. But this is the thing about art school. You're pushed to make a lot of like large scale things, but then once they're made and critiqued, you're like, where the fuck does this go? Like, you can't really store it anywhere because how is this gonna fit in my tiny bedroom? So I smushed it. And I looked wild while doing it because my hair was a mess. Going back to my art portfolio that got me into Roski with the silhouettes of the gay people, and combining that with the printmaking on my skin, and out of that whole series and photo shoot that I did with my friends, I went back into my own room, took some self-portraits by myself, and ended up getting a photograph that went into a gallery, my first ever gallery, very small in Los Angeles, artist-run space. And it was such a cool moment. I was so happy and excited to put it into the gallery. It was a mess because, long story short, I had to set off multiple alarms and call like the Department of Security to get this photograph to the gallery on time. We don't talk about it though. Next up is this painting that re-references the Paul Revere bear and the two figures going through it. I was inspired by the same composition, but then executed a painting that was 10 times worse and 10 times bigger. Compared to the cartoon people going through the Paul Revere bear, this is a bad painting. This is my redemption for that previously awful painting. A lot more realistic rendering, a lot more buttery. I'm thinking about cool highlights on the face that's hitting the flash, but then the warm shadows behind it on the figure. Way better painting. But I think I literally destroyed it because I accidentally folded it. If you know how to get folds out of the unstretched canvas, let me know. And if it wasn't enough for me to redo the printmaking on my own skin, I did it again. to get better photos. This was the photo series that basically filled out my entire portfolio to the Yale Norfolk summer art program. So beyond grateful for it. Yes, my asshole was just out. I'll blur it out for y'all, but in person, everyone saw my asshole. This literally went into a gallery show at my school that my parents came to. It's okay. My bad, my bad. After that, I made a 6.5 foot tall tiger. Never will do that again. Babe, that was too much work. This actually stressed me so much. I was working literally probably 30 hours a week on top of school doing art, including building this tiger. I was coughing from the damn, like, is it silica or actual clay particles flying in the air? Literally getting so sick from it, delirious, headaches. But it was worth it. And if you're asking where this large scale piece went, I actually had to give it to an art collector for free. If anything, it was not for free actually, because I paid for the U-Haul to install it into this man's home. But I'm really grateful for it. Shout out David Maxwell, the homie. We became friends after that, and he's very sweet. And I'm so grateful that he took it in, because if he didn't, I would just have to throw it away. Another painting, this is called Cheese Touch. I was thinking like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the racialization of my own body, and thinking about the holes in the cheese being the holes of the silhouettes that I had in my photo pieces / photo performance pieces. And you can kind of see how like all my art slowly talks together, whether it's across mediums. And then there's this painting of me getting peed on. That has never happened ever, so I don't know why I did it, but I did it. And we're gonna move on and pretend like we didn't see that together. And that was the end of my second year and the beginning of my time at Yale Norfolk. First up from there, I made this painting and self-portrait of myself, basically talking about Asian masculinity in the West and how we've been metaphorically castrated through symbolic annihilation of Asian masculinity. So we're femicized, da-da-da-da-da. It's like my whole artistic practice now. I was referring to this by removing the phallus from me in the self-portrait. The girls hated it. They did not vibe with her. So I started over. I made this painting instead. And I actually really like this painting. Looking back at it, I think it is a vibration, and the professors and teaching fellows were torn whether they liked it or not. But the people that did not like it did not like it. In a critique in front of everyone, someone says, "This doesn't really feel like you. It feels, quote, too Western for you." Too Western for me? Cause why? I don't think this person meant it as racist, even though that's how I slightly interpreted it as. I think they were more talking about like, you need to start deconstructing why you want to paint in a Western style. And is this just derivative of basically Jenny Saville, who is like an iconic painter in the Western sphere? And I was a bit heartbroken. But it led me into a completely different avenue of my artistic practice, because I started asking myself those very questions. So the critique was actually extremely helpful for me. I ended up redoing the painting and putting a cartoon character in it. And this was the very first time I put a cartoon character onto my realistic rendering or more Western rendering styles. So I did this painting while I was there, this little thumbs up one, I had one with a little tiger. My whole thing from that point on was just cartoons. And while I was thinking about cartoons, I was also thinking about like the flatness of cartoons and the flatness of silhouettes like I had previously explored. So I began making wearable sculptures, particularly this one out of yellow tissue paper that was very fragile, talking about fragile masculinity, the masculine disguises that Asian men put on in response to the feminization that they're experiencing. Very silly, in the end of this performance piece, I got so lucky because I stood outside in this very same position for 22 minutes in total. I think there were 3 7-minute segments. And by the third session, there was rain that just tore apart the muscle suit. And I got so lucky. Babe. God was there that day. While I was there, I also did another performance piece of me just licking myself on top of a mountain. Now I see that like reducing the whole art piece into like a joke, but I was particularly referencing from artist scholars like The View from the Bottom, which talks about Asian bottomhood and stereotypes of the Asian bottom within gay spaces, how Asian men, because they've been stripped of a phallus, are always depicted in corn as the receiver, and therefore the more feminine position if you were to go along the gender binary with these like top bottom dynamics. And through me like literally licking myself, I'm taking on the position of both the top and the bottom to give myself power through this insular cycle of like a trying to just like gain bodily autonomy through self-consumption, etc. I personally love this performance piece, but some of the girls didn't get it. But the girls that got it at the residency, oh, they got it. More cartoons, but this time the cartoons are paired with like short poems of today's. I have this like series that's like today, where I just write, today I'm sad. Today I felt like meat pie. Today I looked for my penis. Today, I am a creature. And then after that residency, I started going back to more watercolors of the cartoon character, just different kind of compositions I could make with pencil and graphite. And then came my third and final year of art school. I was reading the Counter-Sectional Manifesto by Paulo Preciado, which I highly recommend. It's just about calling out the violent biopolitics that are imposed on everyone. Preciado particularly talks about like the phantasmic phallus, just the concept of a phallus being the ultimate masculine expectation that can never be achieved. So I developed this like red motif of a phantasmic phallus cutting through these different cartoon characters. So then these cartoon characters then become the bottom, quote unquote. More paintings. This one though is my favorite one. I think this is my best painting in art school. There's something about it that I just don't know. It's so oddly of the times because I put a literal peach emoji in it, but it feels timeless to me. I could see myself in 30 years looking back at this painting and feeling like it could be relevant then. And I don't really feel that with any of my other paintings, even now. So I need to go back to this one. I did a performance piece again with a wearable sculpture that was a yellow must suit. This time instead of yellow tissue paper, it's cellophane. And for the second time, I'm engaging in this kind of self-suck. I'm trying to self-inflate this very flat silhouette to give the presentation that my body is bigger than it is, more masculine than it is. But of course, I can't self-inflate, so I ultimately fail. Another cellophane work, I did a body print of me just taking a photo of my body and oil painting it on one layer of cellophane and then smashing another layer of cellophane on top of it, flattening my body, collapsing it, and then installing it into a gallery space where light shines through and then projects this shadow double figure behind it. I think that was cool. I'm trying to redo that soon again. And then I went back to a more classical style, tried to just do a realistic body to prove myself that I could do it if I wanted to still. And this piece to me also feels a bit timeless. I can see this standing the test of time during my life, being relevant to my practice. So I am happy with this. And I think the composition is pretty strong maybe. More fun drawings and cartoons. Oh my god, a painting that I totally forgot about, but this is my first time ever selling a painting and I went to someone in Hong Kong. I wonder what it looks like installed in their home. Do I like this? I'm not really sure. This one's called Eaten Devoured. I kind of hate this one. I don't think it's very good. It feels hype beast to me. This is a good example of something that looks good in my opinion, but will not stand the test of time. It looks very wallpaper-y, and that's not a bad thing. Okay, you can use that wallpaper aesthetic in a way that actually adds to the artistic practice, but that was not what I was trying to do, and it didn't work. I did more experiments in cellophane. This one is my first kind of conceptual work sculpture. It's about glory holes. I'm not even gonna explain this one, but I do definitely want to pursue this concept in the future. And randomly, I decided to teach myself Blender, and so I made a speculative video game design about bottoming. I need to make a whole video essay pretty soon about stereotypes of the Asian bottom and everything in my artistic practice that tries to articulate those stereotypes and break them down. The app lets users generate whatever object they want to literally insert into the cartoon character. So you could imagine how people would just release all like these really dirty, violent perversions onto this double of myself. But the thing is, while the user thinks they have all the power because they're able to just do whatever they want to the character itself is indestructible. It gives power to the act of bottoming, the act of receiving and consuming, because no matter what you do to it, it will survive and it will endure. Cartoon tiger paintings, and drawing upon that color palette, I made a drag look because I was just doing a runway for the drag show at USC my senior year. So again, I made an oversized Korean hanbok that was also a puffer jacket, but this time it is more fabulous. It's no longer this muted cardboard tone. It's durable, it's cloth, it stretches, it elongates my arms, allows me to extend my reach. You know, these motifs of a hanbok and the puffer jacket are no longer holding me back, but actually adding to my power. So it's me, in a way, like ending on a more light note and just celebrating my queerness. And that took a long journey for me to start doing, especially in my art practice. It took my entire art school experience to do that. And this is me performing in it. You can see the makeup is way better, babes, but the hair. What the fuck was I doing with the hair? I should have just went bald, because compare this photo to this photo, the one of me practically bald is so much better. If I could change another thing with this look is the shoes. I think the shoes should have been like clear and platform. And then I took my final ceramic class and just made a bunch of ceramic tigers. This is Samantha, Gramps, Daria, Jack, and Scotty. The Fantastic Five, babe. This watercolor mixed with a wooden panel module at the top. I like this. I'm not sure exactly what it means. Like, I kind of do, but I kind of don't. She's okay. She's okay. And then my final painting in art school ever is this one. Oh my god. Thank god I ended on a strong note. I was not sure how this would go, okay? You could see from the very start of art school to now, there's a big jump in the painting, okay? This one is edging towards timeless classic in my portfolio. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's very whimsical, it's playful, it's fun, but it's kind of dark, sinister, a bit sickly with the green color, and I do incorporate the cartoon motif. It has a bit more abstract, expressive lines, which allow the viewers to project themselves onto it. It opens it up in a way that representational paintings don't do as well. Just for funsies, I want to show you what I've done in the month and a half that I've been out of art school. I've made these paintings, and you can see how the direction of my art is building upon each other for the past year. And I hope that from these paintings, it's evident that art school did help me. I'm not really sure, but it better have. Because babe, so much money was invested into this damn art school career, and I just hope it all works out in the end. So with all that being said, let me know if y'all think art school was worth it for me, if I improved at all. If you like this video, like the video. If you have fun comment, critique, or joke, share, comment down below. And if you like me, my art, or want to follow my journey as an artist in LA, you can subscribe. It's a fun time here, and I think that's the end of the video, y'all. That's the end of the video.